And it's time for the Red Pill News for you and for me. Yeah. So, sure, I'm not doing show tunes, man. This is where the news gets real, the real. I watch go up and down the channels just to laugh, just to laugh. I can't even believe what the hell they say on things like CNN or Fox. It's so blatantly obvious of their who their masters are. Put it that way. I am my own master. I do not, succumb to any kind of machine. I know what I need every day. Every day is about survival. If you don't know that, then you don't know what it's like to be a human being. So anyway, this is the deal. People are losing it. And they're losing it because they were told it's okay to act the way they're acting without any kind of retribution. To basically go off the wall, go off the hook for whatever triggers you, and then you are justified in those actions. This is happening more and more every day. There are mass shootings, and when they say mass shooting, they mean more than two people. That's kind of how it goes. But shootings for no reason. Shootings, people, not even like a disgruntled worker, somebody's got some gripe, that happens a lot too. But I'm talking about just someone going into a supermarket and shooting a woman and a child and then themselves. And a lot of this is murder suicide. No manifesto. They don't have some kind of a thing that they're trying to push or some kind of message. There are people who are losing it, and now then you get gun violence in the gang communities. Those guns are all illegal guns, right? Used to commit crimes. Nobody ever talks about getting rid of illegal guns. The first thing the Democrats run to that they love to say is, go after the gun owners. And these are people who are law abiding people. Basically, they fill out their forms and paperwork and all that. Most states, you have to jump through a lot of fire hoops, especially to buy a pistol. You know what I mean? So, but certainly you should be able to defend yourself and not have anybody stand over you and say that you're not allowed to. And I think when people go up the wall, they will use any means possible. They use knives, they use cars, and they use guns, all kinds of stuff. So it's more about mental health, mental conditioning. But we have a system. If you sit back, I like to reference TV because it's what programs people out there, and the ones who sit there and watch it all the time. That's their brain. You automatically know where their heads are at. I mean, and then you see these. You sit back and it's mainly the commercials now that are trying to terraform your brain. And they are pushing, for instance, all this acceptance. I will say it's the acceptance culture, of people pushing their sexuality in your face and down your throat. Or, there's a commercial about racial sensitivity where they have, certain black people in different types of situations. And, the people who are looking at them are like these white people. And then they're like, they're all suspicious. And, they say, oh, don't misjudge people. And there's a bigger picture. The problem is, yeah, there's a bigger picture, but the picture was drawn for a reason. There's a reason why people are suspicious. Especially if you're in some bad neighborhood where those 12-year-olds will also whip out a gun and shoot you. And that happens every day in America, every day, and then the cops getting shot and all that. Sure, that too. No, they had, the Black Lives Matter movement, that amounted over $500 million for the people who organized it. And they just had a story about one of the girls, man. She had a few mansions, a bunch of other properties that she had bought, and whatever. I'm not offended by that because I don't believe in that. I don't believe in those people. I don't believe they don't even have a message. They're not helping anyone, because everything remains the same. You can have your all your deaths, and protest and burn down police stations or whatever. But everything remains the same. They allow people to blow off enough steam to be complacent. So they go back to their homes and back to their subsidies of government subsidies, and everything remains the same. Nothing ever changes. So that's more the bottom line of all of that bull crap, right? But what I see is, it's more about responsibility and accountability. If you commit a crime, you should be accountable for it. If you go out and whatever, man, you're responsible for your own skin, for the things that you do, and not blame society or blame systemic problems or whatever. It's more about what you do. And if you make your neighborhood bad, you're making your neighborhood bad. You're the one doing it, you know? So when they defunded the police, they removed them from all these different areas. They saw that crime spiked over 80%. In fact, I understand there's a crime wave going on in many places. Now people are demanding for the police to come back. It's like you're dealing with the biggest bunch of idiots you've ever. Well, what did you think was going to happen? You defund the police. What did you think was going to happen? And people are surprised. That's why I'm done with humans. I really am, man. Those aliens better come get me, and they better have a goddamn big ship that can handle a heavy load, man. And I want a big chair, too. Joe Montalvo tells me how small those seats are. I want something big. I want, one of those chair and a half type of chairs. And get the heck out of here, man. It really is disheartening. And then you see what's going out there. I stay away from people for the most part. I'm a minimalist and I'm an introvert. I'm good in a lot of different groups, but I kind of just like being focused in what I'm doing, and I'm off to the side, and that's my life. And I enjoy it, right? I like to lurk in the shadows and do my thing. When I wrote for Good Times magazine on Long Island, I wrote for them for a few years as an entertainment writer, and I was rolling, I think, almost 7 days a week. I mean, all year long, just doing one show after the other, going out reviewing comedians or live shows, music, that type of thing, even Broadway and all that. And I would, always lurk in the shadows, because the shadows gives you the most information, man. And you're backstage and you're listening to people, and people talking about their production, for instance, and how enthusiastic they are. I'll tell you, where you see a lot of life is Broadway shows, especially. But and when you get into the music and these bands, and there's an energy, man. There, when these guys are out there performing and they're creating something, or even if they're playing cover tunes, they're recreating something and entertaining people. So I like it. And I like being off to the side. I like to hang out in the shadows, man, because it's me, Anyway, if you're not in the shadows, you're in the main fray. If you're in the main fray, you're in danger, because there's certainly not a lot out there that's going to protect you, and don't think that there's anything out there that's going to really protect you. You got to protect yourself, and you have to stay away from the big surges of insanity. And there's certainly a lot about this, but people, it's the whole Pride thing, and Pride Month and Pride Year, and they got the rainbow, the whole bit. I'm all into that. I'm all into people celebrating what they are to a degree. I think that it's nobody's business what you are, number one. Me personally, I'm into privacy. And if I have whatever my sexual orientation is, whatever I like to do, whatever I do, period, it's none of anyone's damn business but mine. And I'm not going to stuff it in someone's face. Hey, look at me, and ho 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 ho. It's just no worth in doing that. I mean, there's, what are you doing? You're reaffirming what you are to somebody else, or are you putting that out there in someone to try to get their acceptance, or get some kind of, degree of, what they feel about it? Or do you not care what people feel, and you just live your life in your own skin? So that's more the thing. Just be happy unto yourself. And but I see the commercials, and I see a lot of transsexual commercials. This is less than a percentage, 1.4% really, of the United States of America identifies as transsexual. 3.4 all in all for homosexual, gay, everything, right? Very, 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 very small group of people who need to be represented, but also not overrepresented, and also not, aggressively represented to the point where it's going to cause a conflict within a lot of others. You're forcing people to have an opinion, you know, especially a political opinion where it's not warranted because it's none of their business what you do behind closed doors or whatever, man. So anyway, I just don't like it. I don't like the direction it's going. I don't think it's going to help anything or anybody. And it certainly doesn't reflect the sentiment of people out there. So just let people be. Let them be. Like this woman in Florida. No, women are crazy. But men are crazy too. But sometimes women are more crazy than men. Women are differently crazy. It's a whole different. I know. You don't have to say a word. I know. A Florida woman pummeled her girlfriend after hearing the victim talking in her sleep about an ex, according to an arrest report. Now, I used to fear this because, you know, in my life, I've been kind of active, to say the least. And then while I was in a long-term relationship, you're laying in bed next to somebody, and I talk in my sleep. I don't just talk in my sleep. I like you hear the way I'm doing the show right now. That's me in my sleep, probably even more active. On, laughing, doing all, and my ex was like, a lot of times you fart and then you laugh because it's funny. So, but whatever. A couple of times I found this last one trying to ask me questions in my sleep, like get answers out of me. That was interesting when you wake up in the middle of it and then you still pretend that you're asleep and give them crazy answers. Yeah, that was fun. So, all right. But this woman got beaten up for talking by her female lover or girlfriend, whatever she is, responding late Sunday evening to a 911 call from a neighbor who reported a fight in progress. Cops contacted the 21-year-old victim at the apartment that she shares with Alexis Talley, her 23-year-old girlfriend. The victim told police that she was asleep in the Tampa Bay area residence when she was awoken by Talley, who told her she was talking in her sleep about an ex. So not even about a current "I'm cheating on you" or something like that, an ex. So, all right. An ensuing verbal argument turned into physical, the victim said, and Talley began to punch her in the face. Cops noted that the victim had visible swelling to the right side of her face, consistent with her statement. While Talley acknowledged arguing with her girlfriend after hearing about her sleep talk, she claimed this dispute was only verbal, not physical. As for the victim's injuries, Talley said they were sustained during a previous disorder and not from tonight. Oh, yeah, I beat her ass. That was another night. This one wasn't violent. That was last night. Oh, my God. So first of all, no matter who you're dating, male, female, alien, whatever, they get violent, you go out the door. There's no, "Oh, I'm sorry, honey. I was mad. I didn't mean to do that to you." Nope. They get physical, you go out the door. Because it will never stop. It will keep, and that if you could, even for males out there who are in relationships with females, and this happens often, and so often, and also men don't really report it. When men are the victims of violence in a relationship, they don't really report it, but it's not like, women may be called the weaker sex, but they're not weak, and they punch you in the face. You're still getting punched in the face, It may not be like these crazy movies where you have like some 95-pound chick, bebopping around and beating up these guys who are, 6.5 feet tall with giant muscles and weapons, huge guns, and they're like kicking them in the chest and like killing them all in whatever one punch, right? Yeah, that ain't this. This is some poor girl sleeping in her bed, talking in her sleep about her ex or whatever she was saying, and this woman went nuts, and obviously you saw what happened. So Talia was arrested for domestic battery and booked into the county jail. She was released from custody at $2,500 bond and has been ordered by a judge to have no contact with the victim. Since Talia's rap sheet includes a prior battery arrest that resulted in a no contest, she is facing an enhanced felony charge for allegedly punching her girlfriend. So prior battery arrests, right? Prior arrests for being violent. Like I said, people who are like that, that's what they're like, and they show you their true colors, and then boom, you're out the door. So, according to court records, Talia has also been convicted of marijuana possession, but I'll guarantee there wasn't a thing that made her beat people up. A DUI, yep, and disorderly conduct. Additionally, Talia is currently facing a felony marijuana possession charge stemming from her arrest last month following a traffic stop, which deputies found 2 baggies filled with pot in the vehicle she was driving. See, that's Florida, man. If that was like Colorado or something, even New York now, cops in New York are so mad because people are walking around smoking weed everywhere, and there's nothing they can do about it. They basically said you could smoke it wherever you could smoke a cigarette. Pretty interesting. So I know a lot of people, like especially down the city, laughing their asses off on that one. But what do you do? What do you do when your sex partner is talking about, talking in their sleep about the ex? Ooh, baby. Ooh, baby, baby. She didn't even say like what she was even talking about, So, but there are people who are psycho like that. That's why I started sleeping in the separate bedroom with a lock on the door. You know what? There are people who will flip out on you if you say anything. And a dream can be anything. A dream is a dream is a dream. It could be a reflection of anything. So God forbid. But anyway, it's more about people and their relationships. And also, there are a lot of people who get married and then they let themselves go. They lose their sexual attraction for one another. And then it's men who get the blame, even though it's not a lot of men who necessarily let themselves go. Even though there's a large group of women out there that appreciate what they call the dad bod, and they think that it's sexy. So yeah, fat men are sexy. That's right. But they're kind of pushing all these overweight and obese women as like these supermodels and whatever, when really it's not healthy. I myself am losing weight. It's not healthy to have extra weight on you, and for a whole host of reasons, especially the older you get. But they're trying to make it politically correct. And granted, you shouldn't be making fun of people for being overweight. They still do that in Hollywood. They do that in commercials. They do that in TV shows all over the place, right? Because it's still fair game, but not so much when it comes to women. If you notice, the men, yeah, they make men look like fools and all these things, but not so much. But what do you do when you're no longer sexually attracted to your partner? What do you do? So I'm going to read this to you. There is nothing like that fire you feel when your relationship is fresh and you are so attracted to your partner. Yeah, that first 2 weeks, right? That first 2 weeks, man, it's beautiful. After that, it's the downhill slide of a life. It's hard to keep your hands off of one another. All that kind of that giddy type of love, Over time, for some people, the attraction fades and the novelty wears off, which is a very normal part of being in a relationship. But for others, the sexual attraction disappears completely, and it can be tough to overcome. So I'm going to say, not only tough. Once it's out the door, it's out the door. I mean, can you even rekindle? Because a lot of the times when people get together, they got that lust for each other. And then if that lust fades away, then what do you got? You've got that, or it could be mutual attraction, mutual sexual attraction. Let's face it. I love pizza. I love it. Love pizza. I eat pizza all the time. but I can't eat it every day, especially morning, noon, and night. And yeah, that's it. Show's over. That's it. Sorry, folks. But there is. So I mean, are humans really made to be together for a length of time? Because a lot of relationships, fade away. What, 8, 9, 10 years? I mean, mine lasted for 14 years. That's about the average marriage, these days. So people my age have been married 2, 3 times, right? They like to get on the carousel and keep going around, right? But but what do you do? What do you say you want to save your relationship? Because this show is all about solutions, if you haven't noticed. Yeah. It's more about the factors really that kind of make you either mentally, because a lot of people mentally reject each other too. It's not just physically. So, all right, let's see. There are lots of factors. Here we go that lead to decreased attraction. Debbie Sibler, and it's a woman, so you have to take it from a woman's point of view. It's if you're getting advice from somebody and you're a male, you got to get your advice from another male who has been successful, not from a woman. And if successful or not, it's a different point of view. You know what I mean? And they see things a different way. And there's a whole, especially if they, subscribe to this whole crazy culture going on now where men are evil and toxic. No matter what we do, we're evil and toxic. And no matter what, and women are born victims, right? Just by being one is being a victim. So there's that going on that a lot of younger males are fighting against these days. And they don't know how to maneuver either, do they? So Debbie Silber, a transformational psychologist and health, mindset, and personal development speaker. She tells she knows, she has like a book or whatever, that a decrease in sexual attraction to your partner happens when your needs and expectations are unmet. Really? She has a long ass title just to say that. I have no title, and I said that. My title is asshole, and I just said that. Come on, man. I'm going to write a book called He Knows. He Knows. That's right. So she says, when this happens, she explains, you're not feeling as attracted to your partner as you once were. Man, these are very obvious statements, which is a natural response as many of us pull back, especially if we have communicated to our partner that we need what we need and what we feel are it's not being met, not being heard. And some people are impossible to make happy no matter what you do because they're unhappy in life, period. And no matter who they meet, no matter what they do, they're still unhappy because that's what they are, right? And you can never meet those obligations because it's impossible, literally impossible. So anyway, she says this makes us feel unimportant, disregarded, and in their eyes, not taken seriously, she adds. Silber says another factor is physical attraction decreases if we feel a partner has let themselves go. And a lot of dudes I know who get married, that's the first thing they say. The sex ends and their girls let themselves go, especially if they have kids or a bunch of kids and they don't really recover physically from those kids. And each kid, they add another 20 pounds, another 20 pounds. And, it's like that, right? Men too, but not as much because men really have to go out there and work and do stuff. And, it's, I know women do too. I'm just saying men are more apt to be physically fit, because they're still on the go and doing, especially blue collar workers. But anyway, it just is what it is. Okay, this sends a message to our partner. Our partner will no longer cares for us to look nice. Neglected physical health and hygiene can be conveyed as a sign of disrespect to the other person, unless you don't like them and you smell for a reason. And when they're like, ew, you smell, you're on the right path, right? Because there's also that. Along the same lines, Tessina reminds us that it is easy to feel attracted to each other when you aren't living together. But as your relationship evolves and you share a home, romantic moments are no longer automatic, and everyday things no longer feel exciting, and it's easy to fall into a rhythm. Also, you're not free. There's no freedom because you constantly have this parasite on your neck. I mean, this person in your place, and they're just constantly there, and all that little I love you, baby, I need you, baby, baby, baby. Yeah, after that 2 days, it's kind of consider it as a romantic quarantine. You got 14 days in quarantine where you're head over heels, lustful, going crazy. And some people, you know what? They stay that way for a while. Look at Prince Harry. Prince Harry, in more of a different situation, of his psychological rapidness around this woman's finger that he's with. But it really comes down to uh, you, and not necessarily you walking on eggshells or doing some kind of dance to make somebody else happy, but you seeking out the things that make you happy. Whereas not sacrificing things that you enjoy, that you like to do, and you hook up with someone who enjoys those things too. And then it's awesome, you know? But all right. Dr. Julie Gerner, a clinical psychologist, no dudes, by the way. This is another interesting thing, right? Because there's a lot of male psychologists. I think in an article like this, you should dice it up. You should have both perspectives, right? A male perspective, a female perspective. Okay. So this one's clinical psychologist, and they say that it's more than looks. Attraction isn't simply about physical appearance, especially if you've got tequila. You're right, right? Am I right? Am I right? All right. Adding that people tequila wears off though. Oh, then reality rushes in, man. Adding that people evolve over the duration of relationships, which can lead them to be less attracted to their partners. You see, and they say people evolve. People evolve over the duration of a relationship. No, you deal with people's BS over the duration of a relationship, and then all of a sudden, those little things that you thought was so cute start making you mad, or pissing you off, or it's like whatever, man. I see it. Facebook is the alpha and the omega of relationship for people, and it's fun for me to watch back. Okay, in case you don't know, alpha beginning, omega the end. All right, so okay, just in case you think anything else, it's fun to sit back and watch people. I'm watching one of my friends now. He meets this woman. They're all happy. They're running around, going to the beach. Well, I mean, I could tell the guy's spending a ton of money because he's taking her out, doing all this other stuff and whatever. They're running, and that's part of the game too, I guess, right? But and I know the guy, and that's the way he is too. But if that's fine, they're always together now in pictures. And then now his picture on Facebook is the two of them together, which is the kiss of death, And you're really shrugging off your privacy also, but also your independence. And, a few months ago, the guy was freewheeling, single and happy. And now he's in this euphoria. And I'll guarantee you in a few weeks, it'll start going downhill. Probably a couple weeks after the 4th of July, it'll bottom out and then back down into the dumps, and that's the cycle with a lot of my friends. And I don't join cycles. Me, I'm like a wolf, right? I like to kind of run through the woods and howl, ho, and whatever comes my way, man. I don't go out of my way. I howl and people go this way. That's all. That's the way you got to be. You got to be that wolf. You got to be a buffalo. You got to be that independent, right? I'm not saying families are bad. I'm saying that there's a time for that, and there's also a time to be independent, especially if you're a male and you're between that 45 to 55 range, and you find yourself single, maybe even homeless. I mean, people who are running from one place to another, and and also with COVID, how it affected everything. There's a lot of people out there who are struggling emotionally. Those men don't even have any help. There's not even any kind of programs. I mean, most of them are geared towards others and not towards men. So that's why look at the suicide rates among men. That is so high, 3 times what they are for women. So there's things that need to be solved, and there's a mental health problem in America that needs to be solved, but it's not going to be solved with people being so one sided and